GT Cup Europe round 4 comes to a close here in Paul Ricard with race number 2, the second 50-minute encounter of the weekend for a combination of Porsche Cup machinery and Ferrari Challenge machinery here at the 5.8 kilometre circuit Paul Ricard. It's the second race of the weekend, and as you can see, very different cars to keep an eye out for as well. Evgeny Leonov, probably one of them as well. That's probably a slightly disappointing qualifying for him in 13th position. Martinez Richter had problems in qualifying as well. So we will see how it all unfolds. And I think I just saw it at the top of the shot there. Jahid Faisal Karim has made the start. That Street Art Racing Ferrari did not make the start of the race yesterday. It has done so today, but it does seem like we've also lost a couple of cars because we don't have Alba Vasquez's car that to have come through the timing loop, nor do we have had Indrik Jaska's. Now that EST1 Porsche of Jaska did seem to have some issues in qualifying, but I wonder what's gone on with Alba Vasquez and Laura van den Hengel's Mattel Ferrari. Now there was a gearbox issue on that car yesterday, but it did seem to run all smoothly in qualifying, so potentially a new issue has reared its head there.
Could well have done. Still, the safety car continues to take the cars around. Nicolo Schiro at the head of the order. It was a tremendous result for Rosso Corsa to grab pole position, following suit from winning race 2 at this very circuit last year with Lorenzo Innocenti and Andrea Bellici in their first weekend, maiden weekend, here in the GT Cup Europe Championship. So it's down to Schiro whether they can make lightning strike twice. And I'm not just talking about the weather that we are experiencing out there on track right now. Fabio Babini, obviously one to watch, though, and he's going to be giving Nicolo Schiro a few headaches. It's going to be Ferrari v Porsche once again. Obviously, as far as Babini's concerned, champion in various different realms, including Lamborghini Super Trofeo back in 2009, Italian GT 2013, and that same year taking the European Le Mans GTC Championship with the Michelin Le Mans Cup also going his way in 2017 alike. So vastly experienced, and I must say he's going to apply all of that today. He's going to need it too with conditions such as this. I'd imagine he's been in this position before, so might have the advantage of experience perhaps over the other competitors.
Remember what we saw in Portimao as well, George, in the very wet qualifying we had there. The Porsches were pretty dominant over the Ferraris. We know that they make up their speed in the corners, and these conditions, the Ferrari can't really utilize its power advantage. So I'd say it's going to be a good race for the Porsches. Not great news for our pole sitter Nicolo Schiro, of course, but he was considerably faster than anyone else in qualifying this morning. So he does have that going for him, but right now you have to look at the likes of Babini and Arafai and Ryman as well. Well, maybe even the RICARD Porsche. That took an overall win in Portimao after very similar conditions.
I mean, Dieter Schweppes is a talented individual, certainly a driver to watch in the 911, and looking to come here and strike its authority here in amongst this grid. We'll take a look at what Leandro Martins and Dieter Schweppes have accomplished. Dieter Schweppes by far, obviously the more accomplished driver out of the two, after being crowned a 2024 GT Winter Series Cup 2 champion alongside Leandro Martins. But even prior to that, Porsche Sport Challenge Central Europe is where he competed between 2021 and 2023, and then the Nürburgring 24 hours between 2012 and 2014, competed in the 24-hour series in 2008. So the Austrian Dieter Schweppes definitely carries a lot of potential here, and carries raw pace and ability that, coupled with, despite the not necessarily the same amount of experience, Leandro Martins, he's adapted to racing very quickly, and I think that's going to be an AM combination that could be quite exciting for this particular race that we have here at Paul Ricard. But obviously taking on the likes of Babini is going to be a stiff task. Of course, we hail the exploits of Federico El Rafai in his single-seater career, winning the Saudi F4 Championship. Nicolo Schiro equally also has an equal accomplished CV in terms of what he's brought to the table. Of course, competed with Nicolo Rossi, who also ran in the Euro Formula Open Championship in the distant past, in the International GT Open last season, which was a pleasure to watch. And Nicolo Schiro here this time assisting Lorenzo Innocenti in the place of Andrea Bellici. no doubt we'll see that pace unfold yet again, because it was so apparent in qualifying, and didn't need to go out again as the rain cascaded down. He knew that he didn't have to wait much longer, didn't have to stay in the car. He could jump straight out. His time was exceptional. Of course, further down, might have some other names to watch. Obviously, Nicholas Salin to be swapping over later on for his teammate. And one thing that can be said about Stienes Longin is that he always pulls off masterful latter stints. He did exactly that at Spa-Francorchamps, some dazzling overtakes at their home track. Let's see if they can bring the exact same here at Paul Ricard and rise their car from P10 up the order. But he's got to get past tricky customers like Lars Zanen. Of course, don't forget, Ivan Velasco is going to be swapping over for Luca Ludwig later into the stint too. We all know his pace. It is exceptional. Masterful ADAC GT Masters champion back in 2015. So, you know, there's a lot of capable drivers on this grid.
And I would argue that that is the best placed car that had its slower driver in for qualifying for the start of the race. And being under safety car, especially for this long, is really playing into their hands, to the point where...
For the Belgian outfit?
For Velasco, sorry.
Yeah, well, true, and, them too.
Yeah, for Velasco and Ludwig. And that might even negate 20 seconds of handicap that they have to take, having just taken their third win of the season yesterday. But we'll see. We'll see how that unfolds. Because obviously Velasco, their bronze driver.
Spray still being kicked up off the surface as we now watch them make their way through. Davide Scanicci will be taking over from Babini later on into the stint, so it's up to Babini to see if he can spring an advantage ahead of Shiro. That's going to be very easier said than done, though. However, that Ferrari pace is going to be apparent down the Mistral, but whether the rain could cause an imposition in the third sector to disrupt the pace of the Ferrari will be interesting. Obviously, I think that's where the Porsche, even in dry conditions, excels in that third sector. But I think if you apply the element of rain on top of that too, maybe the Porsche is even better again. We'll have to wait and see, because I think all of a sudden those corners become, you know, a lot more tenacious, I think, when you suddenly take them in slick conditions.
They were definitely looking at this being a bit of a Porsche race. So obviously there's a number of different factors here, of course. I mean, we were just saying about how, you know, oh, Velasco and Ludwig, they're in a really good position, but will they still have the speed when the conditions are not favourable to them? So a lot of unanswered questions here. Still a very tight fight in the championship, of course, with Federico Alrafai and Matteo Lovisi still very much in the hunt. Yes, they had their first non-score yesterday, but it effectively counts as one of their drop scores for the season. So it could be even Stevens by the end of the season. We'll see. As it stands now, it's only Ivan Velasco and Luca Ludwig who have scored in every race so far this season. And we see Nicolo Schiro still looking at the back of the safety car. Of course, Nicolo Schiro wasn't necessarily meant to be racing here this weekend. We were due to have Andrea Bellicci back in the car, having recovered from the back injury he suffered in Hockenheim in a crash in practice that led to Schiro joining the team for a few rounds, but he is at home with kidney stones at the moment, is Andrea Bellicci. So
when it rains, it pours.
Yes,
even in his world.
Don't need to tell us. Look at it out there. So yeah, really bad timing there. Sadly, as reigning champion Jorge Cabezas goes through some strategies, maybe some data. Of course, his teammate Annie Frozio
qualified well, actually, given her experience, because of course he was concerned more or less. Yeah, because you know, given the fact that she has only just sprung really into GT Cup car competition.
Not just GT Cup car, any circuit racing competition.
Absolutely, and you know, they've qualified essentially ahead of Stefano Bozzoni and Jim Michelian, so you know, there is a chance. And don't forget, Jorge Cabezas is going to pack a punch in that second stint, so I would not be so quick as to deny that they will, you know, they can't do something here. And the one thing that rain does bring is safety cars, and we could very likely see one in the second half of the stint, which would play into the hands of Jorge Cabezas.
Yeah, certainly would. Of course, Jim McCallion at the back of the grid joining us, the American. Oh, speaking of the devil, there he is, the Grand Prix of Long Beach president, who seems to have dropped the car under safety car conditions. And we're going to see how the American did it. Oh, wow. That's very bizarre. Luckily, he hasn't hit anything firmer than his car. I
was going to say the wall on the side looked a bit inviting.
It did, didn't it? But I mean, I met Jim downstairs earlier on before qualifying, and he said, "Oh yeah, just taking a bit of a break from the day job," and he told me of how he knows Gianluca Di Lorenzi, of course the GDR Racing team boss, who he met. They were racing at the Nürburgring together. They were next door to each other in the garage, as we do have safety car in this lap. And of course, alluded to some exciting plans for the 25th anniversary of the the 50th anniversary, sorry, of the Grand Prix of Long Beach. But we do have safety car coming in at the end of this lap, so Nicolo Scherer will finally be able to get his foot down. Fabio Babini can have an attempt at going through as well, and yeah, we'll see what the Porsches have got. And there is a flurry of them behind our pole sitter in the Ferrari, with Babini, RFI and Ryman, and Sveps, of course, as well, who was a bit of a demon in these conditions back in Portimao. So he'll be one to watch in that bright yellow RICARD Porsche.
No concerns for Jim McCallion. He is well and truly up and going and making his way through turn 6 as it stands through towards turn 7. So there won't be any need to elongate any safety car procedure. Safety car will be coming in. Shiro taking him around Bousset, and Fabio Babini will be hoping to get the jump to tackle him into turn 1. It's all about the getaway. Federico Al-Rifai looking to right the wrong from yesterday. Alex Ryman second yesterday. What could be today? Obviously, given the weather, anything can happen. Dieter Schweppes for RICARD. Who knows? It could be their time as well. But Velasco and Luca Ludwig, definitely, I would say, the good money favourites. 3 wins in their last 4 races, and they might yet make it 4 wins in their last 5.
So Nicolo Scherer will be the one to put his foot to the floor, unleash all 670 brake horsepower in that Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo. He's gone early, has Scherer. He doesn't want Babini anywhere near him, but Babini is going with him. And so as they head out of the final corner, and after 24 minutes under safety car, we are racing in Le Castellet for race number 2 in GT Cup Europe, as Shiro leads the field away, closely followed by Fabio Babini. Federico Al-Rifai coming under pressure from Ryman behind him, the Estonian, but to the outside, Dieter Schweppes going through in the AM leading car. He's passed 2 in 1 corner.
Fantastic move there from Dieter Schweppes. Really capitalised coming through turn 1. Had the run as well, so is now going to look to land a blow. Ryman now looking to come back against Al-Rifai as they head in towards the hotel chicane. There you see them coming through this next segment of curves. Ryman still with the upper hand here on Al-Rifai, and that is a huge loss for them. Just look at Velasco as well creeping into it. Not a great start for the Saudi F4 champion.
Couple of drivers having to take to the escape road, and that included Alvaro Libera, second of the AM runners in the white Ferrari that we can see in the distance. Just came out in front of Ian Rodriguez's SP Racing Porsche. This is on board with Ryman. This is what he can see, and it's not much at all. And he pulls out of the slipstream of the Porsche just to see what on earth is in front of him. But look at Fabio Babini, very close to the back of... Oh, and off the road goes Nicolo Scherer. Is that going to be an open door for Babini? He has to go the long way round of the right-hander, and the traction of the Porsche should be a bit superior, but now the power of the Ferrari will draw him back level as well. And so we're going to run side by side on this first flying lap towards the high-speed right-hander of Scene, and Shiro is just hanging on to this one.
Yeah, setting the scene at Scene indeed for Nicolo Scherer, but Babini trying to tackle as they head through Bousset. Will he try? Oh, yes, he will. He's going to try and go wheel to wheel. Heading through Bousset corner now as they now look to stretch. Heading through the next left and right. Of course, through Bendor they will go. Babini now looking to chuck it up the outside. This is where the Porsche is more favourable in this fight for the lead now as they tackle through Delatour. And Babini just getting on the curb slightly. The car just slipping between the two curbs as we saw them breaking through into the final sector. They've got only a couple of corners left before they begin the next lap. Shiro, though, still holds on to that advantage.
I thought for a second he was going to slide into the side of Shiro's car there, but, well, caught by Babini. And Dieter Schweppes is just on the back of them straight away, isn't he? God, what a demon. And now the GDL Porsche behind its title rival, Ivan Velasco, has passed Federico Al-Rafai for 5th position overall. And, of course, that's their top 2 in the championship, swapping positions there. The Ferrari leading the way and now ahead of its nearest title rival on track. So this has been a very difficult first flying lap for Federico Al-Rafai. Having started in 3rd, he's now in 6th.
Yeah, I can tell you this now, obviously with him being a Saudi F4 champion, you won't get conditions such as this in Saudi where it comes to racing. Obviously a very dry country, lots of sunshine, so wet conditions never really an issue. So Al-Rafai forced to adapt here in GT machinery as we now watch the cars once again pirouette their way through turn 7. Shiro heading them off, but Babini finding a favourable line and is going to actually try a challenge heading down the straight, which is where usually the Ferrari would be favoured in this exchange. But the Rosso Corsa forced to go defensive. We just see in the background as well Dieter Schweppes looking for a nice clear view at the front too as they now head down towards the chicane at the midway point of the Mistral Straight. Babini now looking to the outside, and this time will he extend? No, not quite. Managing to find a better line. I think just being a little cautious with Shiro up at the front. Doesn't want to get caught up in an immense tussle as there goes Velasco taking the off track and forced to rejoin in a very not necessarily orthodox manner.
I couldn't even tell you where that was.
I think coming through the Mistral chicane, I
think it was the chicane, but then it almost looked like he went through the chicane then, but well, it looked like he went off the road, didn't it?
He's still 5th, so he's definitely with this pack up at the front. So
odd one there for Velasco. He's still chasing down Alex Ryman there. Federico Al-Rafai in a bit of a race of his own now. Here comes the Q1 track racing. Lars Zanen, who was on the overall podium, was under Prisbalak yesterday, and he's rounding up the car that's 2nd place in AM at the moment. Alvaro Libera into Labuse and moving himself up into 8th position overall for Q1 track racing.
Yeah, former teams champions alike. We're champions with of course, Jan Larison back in 2022, who made sporadic appearances last season, but they're back again with new faces. Also won the AM Championship with John de Wilde back in 2022 as well. Alike, as we now watch the cars send it down through towards turn 1 yet again with 31 minutes still to go. Nicolo Shiro out in front, 9/10 of a second now the gap between he and Fabio Babini. So despite Shiro's error earlier on at the very start when we got racing underway, it looks like that Shiro is still managing to marshal off the attempts here from the Porsche outfit. Lars Zanen moving up into 8th ahead of Libera. So Schweppes well and truly on his own as far as the AM battle's concerned, solidifying his place in the overall podium place of 3rd. Obviously still a long way to go just yet, but as far as the AM goes, he's in a good position.
It certainly is, really pulling away from Libera. So Ricard's between himself and his nearest class rival as well. Also, slightly further down, you've got Nathan Braun's there. I think this will be... Oh, did he qualify in that wet Portimao session? Might be the first wet laps he's done in GT Cup machinery. Look how close Babini is here. Of course, the Ferrari's got the legs on the straight, but Babini is looking close. As he goes to the outside, it's squirming under braking, both of them really struggling to get it stopped for that chicane. As you see on the timing that Zanen has gone past Nicolas Salins as well and into 7th position.
I'm wondering if Rodriguez has had a moment or something, because I think he's dropped down quite considerably and he still continues to fall. So that's the number 55 Porsche making its way around the track. keep you updated, folks, as to whether whether it's a transponder error. We have had errors today with the weather being as it is. Currently, the 55 reading just outside of the Mistral is disappearing on our track maps. Not quite sure what's going on there, but we'll keep you posted as we now rejoin this battle up at the front with Shiro and Babini. 7/10 now separating them. So whilst the gap did fall out to 9, as soon as we venture into the final sector, this is where Babini can really unlock the performance of this Porsche. But just look at Dieter Schweppes closing up here. 1.3 seconds now that RICARD Porsche is finding. So they're not getting away from him right now.
They're certainly not. Of course, Dieter Schweppes being a very experienced racer and does seem to be flying in these conditions, as we saw in Portimao at the start of the year. And see they're heading down the straight once again, and a driver change window is open. So Alex Ryman coming in at the first time of asking, as is Ivan Velasco. Felt too quick, but it's because we were under safety car for so long. Yeah, only those 2 cars in as it stands. Oh, Alvaro Libera has come in as well. Nicolas Salen's coming into the pits as well.
Luca Ludwig now getting set, ready for this big stint that he has got in front of him. Obviously wet conditions, less than ideal, but with Ludwig's experience, it's going to be useful here. And as we now watch Babini still chasing after Nicolo Shiro in his battle for the lead, and once again very close, but obviously the straight line is going to be ideal for this Ferrari challenge as it looks to come out of turn 7. Still though getting closer. Dieter Schweppes, I would say getting closer, still 1.4. It's actually gone out by 1/10 as Babini gets a little closer. That gap has crawled back in from Dieter Schweppes and Babini, now 1.1 as we watch the Mertel Motorsports, Fernando Navarrete swapping out or swapping in for Libera. There's Schweppes again. He's getting closer and closer all the time. A little twitch there from Babini as they cruise through the Mistral chicane, and that RICARD Porsche definitely is getting closer. So the 2-car fight now all of a sudden becomes a 3-car fight.
Watch this all race long, but it's going to have to end in the next 6.5 minutes. Right, out comes Stienes Longin and Alex Ryman just behind. Ryman having to take 15 seconds of handicap there, so it's been a long stop for him, so naturally he's fallen down the order a little bit, as we saw Annie Frozio getting out of the 85 with Jorge Cabezas getting in. This could be an opportunity for them as well. We spent most of the first stint under safety car, but the leaders making their way through the third and final sector at turn 12 there. We'll see if Babini can find his way through. That was a big swapper there for Schweppes. And rounding up Jim Michaelian there on the inside as well. This could get very, very tight. Michaelian heads for pit lane. Look how many puddles are forming just off the racing line now. Babini made a great move for the lead at that corner a year ago. And now trying to emulate that performance as they head down the straight once again. Looking one way, looking the other, because we've got cars coming out of pit lane as well into the traffic. We still have 5 minutes left on the driver change window, so it'll be probably, well, they might squeeze 2 laps out of this.
Could well do. I think that's Jorge Cabezas who has just come out of the pits as well. Arturo Melgar has also come out as well. Lars Zanen comes into box. As does as well the 43 Porsche of Jim Michaelian, who we saw going slowly into pit lane. There, of course, is Dieter Schweppes just in the background now, getting closer and closer all the time. Babini still searching, hunting for this race lead as he swarms all over the back of Nicolo Shiro. Of course, both cars will be thinking of pitting very, very soon, but I must say this fight is is certainly stellar. Obviously, Babini giving his best to try and close up the gap and heading down that long straight despite the performance benefits of the Ferrari in a straight line. The Porsche seems to be handling itself very well as Jahid Faisal Karim moves into 11th. Perez Balak as well further down. Dieter Schweppes getting closer as we're seeing on screen once again. Babini waiting for a potential mistake here for the Ferrari as he now looks to the inside on the escape heading out of the chicane down the second half of the Mistral. But the escape was better, I think, for Dieter Schweppes, who now looks to go side by side here with Fabio Babini. So now it's 2 Porsches as opposed to a Ferrari v Porsche battle. 2 Porsches are going to go at it, heading through towards Stienes now. there. They look to try and tussle through turn 10, but still enough for Fabio Babini to withstand the pressure and retain P2 out on track.
Well, the aggressor becomes the defender for Fabio Babini. But Streps is looking very, very handy in these conditions as it stands. Oh, is this the moment? Is this the moment for Babini here? Yeah, he did get a good run out of Le Bousset, but Shiro's got him covered. And so he will continue to look at the back of that Ferrari 488 challenge car. Of course, we've had Martinus Richter in the pits. We've had Johannes Zelga into pit lane as well. And now Babini coming into pit lane, as is dear to Streps, but Nico Shiro carries on for another lap.
He certainly can. 2 minutes and 50 to run, so he's going to come in, I would think, after this lap is concluded. Bogdan Duma as well, the Romanian national rally champion, moving ahead of Nathan Braun's into 6th place. He's got just under 10 seconds to final. Federico Al Rafai, who still is yet to box as well, as now in comes Leandro Martins for Dieter Schweppes, who has taken a really decent stint to open up their account. Davide Scanicchio comes in for Fabio Babini. So it's all down to Shiro to basically pull off a dramatic overcut. As into the pits comes Bogdan Duma, and Nicholas van Durendonk will take the chair.
Yeah, Nathan Braun's coming in just behind him as well, so that was a pass for position between the two Q1 track racing cars that now hand over to their teammates. So Laurent van der Velde in 52 for Braun's. And of course, one half of the reigning AM champions lineup. Xander Prisbalak is the other one in the Pro-Am car, the number 53. So Shiro on his own out there at the moment. Federico Arafai and Ian Rodriguez have continued on. And so they are the last 3 cars to make their stop, as we see Pascal Bachmann is about to get on board the Street Art Ferrari. That's a bit of a Franken Ferrari this weekend, with running some slightly older bodywork parts that non-Evo specification on that car. Of course, the team joining us for the first time this weekend, having been due to be with us all season long. See how much they're struggling to get it stopped for the first corner now. Conditions really, really deteriorating. For the amateur drivers who are out there, they've really been proving themselves with these conditions and continuing to push, because we think of, it's easy to get a reputation of amateur drivers that it's not as professional, it's not as good, but they are still a class of driver not to be messed with. As into the pits comes Nicolo Shiro from the lead of the race in Rodriguez and Federico Arafai will surely follow him through as well. It says here that Rodriguez is ahead of Arafai. On that lap somewhere, Arafai lost out to Rodriguez. And yeah, but the Guardamartin into the pit lane, as is Arafai.
Yeah. According to the track map as well, Rodriguez's car is ahead as well, but nevertheless, in the pits they are, and Matteo Lovisi will step in for Federico Al Rafai. Just a little note as well on Stienes Longin, he's actually lapping faster than what Nicolo Shiro was doing earlier on, as we now watch as the cars come together again. The 911 Porsche of Leandro Martins, and this is Stienes Longin as well, going up the inside of him right now, has been exceptionally quick over the course of the last lap. A 2:28.287 he brought to the table in the last lap, which is a personal best through the course of this race, and is now starting to knock at that wood and has got the 53 out in front of Xander Prisbalak. The driver change has officially come to an end, so that late stint I was expecting to be quick from Stienes Longin on full show here once again, as he now looks down the inside of Xander Prisbalak, who takes a slightly wider line heading in towards Pont. That's
2 Q1 track racing cars that have made their way past the RICARD, and Alex Ryman recovering from his handicap as well of 15 seconds. Right, so that's Scanicchio into the lead of the race ahead of Lorenzo Innocente. And Matteo Levisi is going to come out in third position here by the looks of it. It was a bit of a slow stop for the SP Racing car, and then the two Q1 track racing cars just behind.
Look at the gaps.
Levisi.
Gaps are minimal. I tell you what, this race is wide open at this point. Scanicchio, 10 laps amassed in this race alone, 2.3 between Innocenti. We know how quick he is, given the fact that, of course, they were winners here last year. There's the Rosso Corsa Ferrari with Levisi just in behind. Look at Stienes Longin at the inside of Xander Prisbach. A twitch from the rear, though, for Stienes Longin, and contact again at the same corner. Once again for the Levisi Al Rafai car that, of course, met the combination of Nicolas Sale and Stienes Longin in the race yesterday. This time it wasn't an impact with the Belgian outfit, but rather with Xander Prisbach, I believe, heading through that portion of track. So quite the moment. Scanicchio, though, still out in front by 5.7. Xander Prisbach then further back, 1.6 behind for Lorenzo Innocenti. There he is on screen now, the Rosso Corsa Ferrari, and here comes Stienes Longin down the inside of Xander Prisbach, and will now go in full pursuit of the Ferrari challenge that sits just in front of him.
Of course, Stienes Longin being the silver class driver in that car, so he is trying to force his way through. It was firstly on his teammate, and then that was the dink against Matteo Levisi, as it was almost payback for yesterday. But of course, Salen's trying to round up his teammate, and then Prisbach was also trying to round up Longin.
Yeah.
And now they're going through on Innocenti as well. So that's Longin into second, and Prisbach now into third. We could be looking at a Q1 track racing 1-2 finish here if they keep going like this. 7 seconds to Davide Scanicchio, and they are lapping considerably faster than him at the moment. And so Alex Ryman also going through on Innocenti there. So Ryman through into fourth.
The gap is that they were actually a whole second quicker through the second sector with Stienes Longin against Davide Scanicchio. That is quite a raft of time that Longin is finding on Scanicchio right now, and I'm intrigued to see what the sector 3 and the, well, shall I say the start-finish line will bring as they cross the transponder. A 66.431 for Scanicchio, a 63.485 for Stienes Longin, meaning that he is 4 seconds faster over the last lap than Davide Scanicchio, so he should close it. I mean, look at the gap. It was 7 seconds before. Oh. It's 4.1 now. My guess is over the next lap, we could see Longin closing up to Scanicchio as soon as maybe even the latter point of Sector 3 to the commencement of the next lap.
That's if no one's flying off the road by the time we get there, though. Look how wet it's getting out there. It's absolute deluge around the entire track. I mean, these cars are hanging on to it as it stands. Oof. Oh, a moment for Leandro Martins, the car that was leading in AM earlier on with Dieter Schreps at the wheel, but Leandro Martins, the Portuguese driver, has skated off the road. He's even found a bit of runoff that isn't painted white or blue or red, which is astonishing. That wasn't in the list of the 25 hectares of runoff area at this track.
What it does mean as well is that Fernando Navarrete inherits that lead in the AM category, now 7th, now 6th overall, as he displaces Matteo Levisi in accordance to our timing screen. So moves being made by our current AM leader, part of the Mertel team that are fielding quite the contingent of Ferrari. Stienes Longin getting ever closer once again. The time in the first sector, 42.5 for Scanicchio, 41.7 for Longin, as now we watch. Oh,
Martinus Richter there going for a pirouette at the hotel chicane.
Another second gone in the second sector. Stienes Longin is really going to work at that delta. It was 4 seconds the difference in the last lap. It could be about the same here this time as well, given the fact that we're coming through sector 3, and that was where the raft of time was granted by the way of Stienes Longin. 3 seconds in the last lap. Is it going to be the same again? It could catch Scanicchio by the final corner, or it could be in the opening sector of the following lap, as we now watch as the Rosso Corsa Ferrari of Lorenzo Innocenti, currently sat in 5th place, has got a fellow Ferrari starting to close up, Fernando Navarrete, who has had certainly some results and performances that haven't necessarily gone his way. And he mentioned that, of course, they've been so strong at the start of every race, but it seems that the pace tends to get away from them towards the latter point. So it's something they've been trying to understand as Navarrete goes up the inside here. The AM leader now moves up into 5th. That is a tremendous move from Fernando Navarrete, catching Lorenzo Innocenti by surprise up the inside, and now we're going to see them come together again, heading down towards turn 1. Navarrete, despite having the upper hand, heading out of the final bend. It looks like Innocenti is going to fancy himself to take the place back in P5, but the Tiger Line favouring the Mertel Ferrari as opposed to the Rosso Corsa, and they're being joined by the one, the only, Luca Ludwig, current championship leader, alongside Ivan Velasco in a 3-way Ferrari fight. 2 Mertels, 1 Rosso Corsa.
And Ludwig already to the outside of Innocenti into the hotel chicane and picking up that place. So he's up into 6th position, just about kept it on the road. Now he's got his teammate Fernando Navarrete right in front of him as well. 14 minutes left on the clock. The lead gap now down to 1.6 as well. Actually,
Longin's got the lead.
Longin's in the lead, that's why. Yep, Stienes Longin through on Davide Scanicchio, which was a bit of a formality at the pace he was running.
Lapping even faster in the first sector now as well as Stienes Longin. Now he's got the clean air, so he's got the freedom. There is Scanicchio now after losing the lead to Stienes Longin.
And now it's Zander Prisbalak in the Q1 Track Racing Porsche that is looking to round him up and make it a 1-2 for Q1, the Belgian outfit. We're very adept at running Porsche machinery in the Belcar Championship and in the Carrera Cup Benelux, as well as here, of course, our reigning teams champions and current teams championship leaders as well.
With teams champions back in 2021 as well. That's where the story started, pretty much. Of course, before then, it was Peporo and Vincenzo Sospiri back in 2019. But this time, Q1 have been the dominant force.
So, Zander Prisbalak still looking for a way past Scanicchio here in car number 53. Of course, Zander Prisbalak, the other half of the reigning AM champions lineup that he shares with Laurent van der Velde as he goes to the outside of the penultimate corner. Lovely move from the Belgian to take at 2nd place away from Davide Scanicchio. And he's one of the youngest drivers in the field, is Zander Prisbalak, 20 years old. Made his car racing debut in the Belgian Endurance Championship with the Q1 team.
Battle for 2nd place in full flow. Alex Ryman coming into it as well, looking to become a 2nd place finisher back-to-back in successive races. Could yet achieve it, and another spin for the 911. Leandro Martins is now cascading down the field, hitting a cone in the process, which majestically skidded off and away. Prisbalak then around the outside of Scanicchio for 2nd here in our overall standing. So, I mean, Porsche's currently in control. They've got the top 4 places, with Luca Ludwig being the highest ranked Ferrari in this exploit.
And the conditions are again favouring the Porsche, aren't they? Next car to try and round up Davide Scanicchio will be Alex Ryman in the EST1 Porsche. Listen to how much he's feathering the throttle through 6 and 7, leading onto the Mistral. Unbelievable.
Yeah, wet weather clearly causing an impact. Alex Ryman, 6/10 away from Scanicchio, and be looking to at least plant himself in a position where he might be on the podium for a 2nd successive time. EST1 racing with the Estonian at the wheel as they come through the next left and right. And then powering out into the 2nd half of the Mistral straight once more. They will then take Scene Corner. This could be a great chance here now for Alex Ryman to take full advantage. We just saw Stienes Longin in picture now, 5.6 to the good ahead of Zander Prisbalak as Scanicchio now rounds turn 10, heading through towards Bousset very shortly. Alex Ryman now as close as he's been to the back of Scanicchio throughout the course of this lap. Is going to try and pick the outside this time to manufacture the move, swooping through brilliantly there from Alex Ryman, but Scanicchio with that inside line isn't going to go without a fight. But is it all said and done? Is it all snapped up for Alex Ryman? Back on the podium place again, back in podium contention. He certainly is. 3rd place going by the way of the Estonian.
So it's Q1, Q1, EST1. And then the Tsunami car down to 4th position now, but
Ludwig coming in back of shot as well.
Yeah, 6.1 behind now is Ludwig. Just under 10 minutes to go in this race. There is our race leader, Stienes Longin, who's missed out on the podium yesterday, did the Q1 car, but very much making up for it as it stands. This is a replay of how Alex Ryman took 3rd place away from Davide Scanicchio. The 18-year-old showing an awful lot of confidence, also the 19-year-old, excuse me, just showing a lot of confidence in these conditions.
Stienes Longin has just posted the fastest first sector with a 38.564, so the conditions certainly not affecting him. Was actually faster than Xander Prisbalak again by a good 3 or so seconds. So again, flexing those raw talent ability that we saw back at Spa, and here at Paul Ricard, clear by a good 8.1 seconds, and we've got a big fight happening for the back. 57 of Nicolas van Dierendonck scrapping with yet another Porsche belonging to, of course, the Matteo Levisi, Federico Alrifai contingent, and further back then yet another Porsche lined up. So Porsche battles all across this track right now, but no such concerns for Stienes Longin. As you can see, the lights just coming through the fog, the mist that the rain has produced. But the 67 of Matteo Levisi holding firm. Laurent van der Velde waiting in the midst.
Yep, so this is 2 more Q1 track racing cars, this time going up against a GDL. And of course, that's the car that was second in the championship, that 67 of Levisi. Going to be losing yet more points to Luca Ludwig and Ivan Velasco if things stay as they are in the remaining 8 minutes of this race. But Van Dierendonck, another Belgian, but one of the team managers of Q1 track racing, was been racing in this championship for 4 years now, and has been a race winner alongside Quentin Antonell, particularly in the AM category. So as he tries to look up the inside, it's looking more like a Carrera Cup race than a GT Cup race at the moment, with all the Porsche battles. And just behind them, of course, Laurent van der Velde in 52. And that car is fighting for the AM Championship as well. Here comes Van Dierendonck on the inside of Levisi at Virage Dupont. Is that going to open up the door for his teammate to come through as well? Yes, it is. And take both positions, actually. So Laurent van der Velde using the experience that won him the AM Championship last year and taking both the GDL car and his teammate.
That was textbook there from Laurent van der Velde, jumping 2 cars in the space of a single corner coming out of Ponce. And look at this as well, we've got Luca Ludwig as parts of our current championship leaders in the GT Cup Open at the helm of this Ferrari Challenge car. Now look at a close-up on Scanicchio, who has lost place after place. Remember, led the way after Babini's opening stint in the second half at the very start, but already brushing through Luca Ludwig, smashing the car down through the Mistral straight, and breezes past Scanicchio and will move up into 4th. Absolutely tremendous stuff from Luca Ludwig. Again, that is the experience on show in wet weather conditions such as this. This is the experience that is required to be successful at this point. Has got another 5 seconds or so to find, though, to close out to Alex Ryman, but you never know. A podium might not necessarily be out of the question given the conditions that are out there on track.
And the 2 Q1 AM cars look like they're going to do battle here. These are the 2 cars that were 2nd and 3rd in the AM Championship going into this weekend. A save there for Laurent van der Velde in 52. And a moment here for Evgeny Leonov in the Volcano Porsche, coming on to the Mistral by the looks of it, skipping through the gravel, but is able to rejoin the Russian-born Maltese driver, currently 14th. Just lost the place to Jorge Cabezas, actually.
Yeah, Cabezas standing in 14th has done well to make some places. Remember, Annie Frozio starting further back and managed to amass their way from all the way in P20, now up to P14. There's now 16 and a half off Richter in 13th place, but Longin still proceeding onwards. 7/10 now the gap, still harbours the fastest lap of the race, which was actually brought to the table the lap before the last, and still registering personal bests as well in the latter two sectors, despite Prisbalak's efforts in the final sector actually of going purple. Seems to like that final sector to Xander Prisbalak, but it's not enough to encroach to within that 7-second gap that has pretty much been a stalemate now for quite some time. But with 4 minutes ticking, Longin with a secure hand on this race win result, as long as he brings it home. But Luka Ludwig trying to go to work to try and close this gap on Alex Ryman, and he's just done another personal best in the first sector, the times in the last lap, a 2:27.831 by the looks of it for Alex Ryman. But Luka Ludwig still working hard to close that gap if and how and when he can. 5.1 now between he and P3.
As Van der Velde and Van Dierendonk continue to squabble over 8th and 9th, but also 2nd and 3rd in the AM category. It looks like Fernando Navarrete has got that one pretty firmly secured for Mertel in the number 81. They're heading away down towards the Mistral chicane once again. Of course, Van Dierendonk, the team manager, as we mentioned, going up against Van der Velde, who was also second overall last year. But this is a moment for Johannes Zelger going into the hotel chicane, losing the back end of the Tsunami Racing Porsche, getting it pointed in the right direction. We have seen some very eloquent spins out there today.
Yeah, the end result wasn't actually too bad, I think, for Johannes Zelger, but managing to get it pointed the right way after all of that. As now we watch Xander Prisbalak barreling his way down the straight, has managed to rescue 3/10, in fact, and it's actually brought down 6/10 now after another blistering final sector. Yet another purple final sector for Xander Prisbalak. Alex Ryman, 5.8 off him. Luka Ludwig actually not really closing up to Ryman at a fast enough rate. We've got 2 minutes to go. It looks pretty academic at this stage that Stienes Longin will be a race winner for only the second time this season after taking it back in Portimao in race 2. Twice on the podium in Hockenheimring, then Spa. Obviously, Hockenheimring race 2 coming in 3rd, and then Spa race 1 coming 2nd. And could have very easily challenged for the race win as well, right at the bitter end, but was in quite the dogfight coming through the middle sector, especially coming around the Jackie X curve. But has done a great job here of coming back fighting under the very treacherous wet conditions here at France, neighbouring country, of course, to Belgium as a nation. And I'm sure this is a moment that Stienes Longin going to be delighted about, as will Nicholas Salins. Xander Prisbalak 6.3 behind them, 5.9 then to Ryman, the Estonian, who will return to the podium again here at Paul Ricard. Should he cross the line like this? 2nd yesterday, 3rd again today. And which could be huge as far as they're concerned, obviously at EST1 Porsche.
Yeah, and of course for Stienes Longin and Nicholas Salins could be just what the doctor ordered to relaunch their title campaign. Going into the weekend, there were 19 points behind Ivan Velasco and Luka Ludwig, but a victory can very much change that, and they are very much on course for it at the moment, as we're on the penultimate lap of the race. And as I say, they've waited a while for this second victory to come, all the way back in the end of April in Portimao at the start of the season. And Stienes Longin will starts the final lap of the race when he goes across the line. And we'll be hoping that Xander Prispalak holds on to second place to lead a 1-2 finish for Q1 track racing. Xander Prispalak on course for a second podium of the weekend with Lars Zanen.
Fourth in the whole season as well for them.
And Alex Ryman on course for back-to-back podium finishes as well. Again, like buses, George, they don't come all season and do come at once.
Yeah, they certainly do. Of course, has sporadically scored points as Alex Ryman. Could call it cruel that he has not scored a podium until the Paul Ricard weekend, but came close at Spa after coming fourth in race one on that occasion. Just cruelly missing out. Of course, that's when Stienes Longin met him in the final, well, in the middle sector. But this time around, he can celebrate as the final lap comes under full swing. And Stienes Longin, a comprehensive performance, but Alex Ryman, I think, can take solace. There's Longin right now coming into the next part of this circuit very shortly. First and foremost, though, he's got to try and tackle this chicane in the middle of the Mistral straight. But another display of force from this tremendous talent behind the wheel of this Q1 track racing Porsche, all the way from Belgium. This team, of course, embracing the Belgian colours on the car, and despite them not being able to wave them at Belgium itself at Spa-Francorchamps, they'll have their chance to wave it at their neighbouring country in France.
Edgar Terriam's Drybecken-Weg-based team on course here for a 1-2 finish. So Stienes Longin and Nicolas Salens, the pair that won the GT2 European Series a couple of years ago together. Have raced various different machines, but since joining the GT Cup field have been consistent front runners. They've been waiting for this second win for a while, since the start of the season. And this is going to put Q1 track racing back into the championship hunt as Stienes Longin takes victory for Q1 track racing in race 2 at Paul Ricard. It is a 1-2 finish for the Belgian squad as Xander Prispalak brings it home for a second podium finish in a row, as does the Estonian Alex Ryman for EST1 Racing. A second podium of the weekend for the 19-year-old. Luka Ludwig continues to extend his championship lead in 4th position. Across the line, Davide Scaniccio in 5th position. Great result for them. Fernando Navarrete will cross the line 6th for Mertel Motorsport with the AM victory in the number 81 car. Then comes Lorenzo Innocente. Which of the two Q1 track racing cars is going to be joining Navarrete on the podium? As we have a third moment here for Leandro Martins, this time into the hotel chicane. And it was Van Dierendonk who beat Van der Velde to second position in AM, as we see what happened once again with Leandro Martins.
That's a big victory as well for Fernando Navarrete. Rodrigo, who is, like we said earlier on, has had his challenges with the performance of the car, but seemingly has done enough here to finish 6th overall, which is a great result as far as they're concerned, obviously with the wet weather barreling down, and then on top of that the challenges all around the circuit, finishing ahead of Lorenzo Innocente in the Rosso Corsa Ferrari Pro-Am partnership with Nicolo Schiro. So a good day at the office for Navarrete as we now watch Alex Ryman bid to bring his car home. 3rd place, a second podium. All the cars now coming across the line, but no question as to who our winner is. Stienes Longin back again alongside Nicolas Salens. And like we said, that's yet another win that goes their way from Portimao onwards. Race 2 here at Paul Ricard has brought them to the dance once more. And that's 4 podiums this season, and the championship charges on.
It's Q1 track racing 1-2 with Nicholas Eilens and Stienes Longin leading Lars Zanen and Xander Prisbalak. Alex Ryman joins them on the podium. Championship leaders Luca Ludwig and Ivan Velasco in fourth ahead of Davide Scaniccio and Fabio Babini. Alvaro Libera and Fernando Navarrete leading the AM category ahead of Bogdan Duma and Nico van Direndonk, with Laurent van der Velde and Nathan Brawns a double Q1 track racing podium in AM as well. Javier Ripoll Jr. in 11th ahead of Evgeny Leonov, then Martinez Richter, Jorge Cabezas and Annie Frozio 14th in the end ahead of Johannes Zelga. A very difficult day for the RICARD Porsche. They finished 16th ahead of RO1 Racing's Kamil Perian and Florentin Cesco, with Arturo Melga and Stefano Pizzoni. The Mattel cars slightly further back, Jade Fazel-Krim, Pascal Bachmann 21st in the end, with Jim McCallion rounding out the field. We lost Alba Vasquez and Indrik Jaska. 17 points is Ivan Velasco and Luca Ludwig's advantage now over Nicholas Eilens and Stienes Longin. That 10th place finish for Levisi and Arafai, not doing them any favours in terms of the championship. And into pit lane now has come our race winners. Stienes Longin vacates the car. Quadruple fist pumps, and there is Nicola as well.
Fantastic result for both Stienes Longin and Nicholas Eilens across the line at first, and celebrating quite rightly so. Xander Prisbalak home in second. Not a bad result at all for Q1 track racing, but they come away with 2 cars on the podium. And just look at what it means to Stienes Longin. But also Alex Ryman, obviously coming from no podiums at all to securing 2 this weekend alone.
Cedric, their physio there as well on the right-hand side. And oh yes, some fluids definitely deserved there.
Much needed in this heat that we've had this weekend.
Top 3 in race 2 of GT Cup Europe and Pro RICARD. Alex Ryman making it back-to-back podium finishes for EST1 Racing, 2nd yesterday, 3rd today. Xander Prisbalak and Lars Zanen also on the podium for the 2nd time this weekend, improving on their 3rd position from yesterday. But leading a Q1 track racing 1-2, Stienes Longin and Nicholas Eilens, their 2nd victory of the season, and they are downstairs with Alfredo.
So we are with the winners, our Belgian pair, Stienes Longin, Nico Eilens. Beautiful race in difficult conditions. So how was first part, Nico?
Yes, very good. I'm very happy because in the beginning of the weekend we had some bad luck. In the qualifying, both of us, we were caught in traffic and we were not able to set a good lap time. So we had a plan to try to get up to the front, but it's always easier said than done. So we are very happy, and Stienes did a great stint today in the rain. A lot of aquaplaning today, so it was not easy. It was very difficult, but I'm very happy.
And 2nd win of the season, so that is very good and very good for the championship.
Yeah, it's a very good day for us. Today is the Belgian national.
True.
So it's a great day for us. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with this win, and we really needed this win because at certain points in the season we had some bad luck or we didn't perform as we would like. So 2 wins this season, we are happy, and I think now the championship is still open.
Yeah. That's true, 21st of July, so Belgian weather, Belgian victory, and a nice Brabant sun very soon.
Thank you.
Well done, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Let's look back at the last 50 minutes of racing. We started under safety car. When we got going, it was Nicolo Schiro for Rosso Corsa Racing who led, but Dieter Streps was the man on the move, taking 2 cars in 1 manoeuvre at the start of the race. The RICARD Porsche was absolutely flying in the first stint of the race. We saw conditions were not ideal going into the start of the race. They fluctuated throughout, as we had Johannes Zelga flying off the road at the chicane on the Mistral. The driver change window opened, and Ivan Velasco handed Luca Ludwig the car in a good position. And then we had the battle of the Q1 track racing cars. We saw close moments, we saw good saves, we saw near misses with contact as well. And it would be Stienes Longin who would pass his Q1 track racing teammate in the end as the RICARD car went spinning with Leandro Martins at the wheel. Xander Prispalak pulled that move on Davide Scaniccio at the penultimate corner to take second place. Stienes Longin was unperturbed out in the front of the field, leading home a Q1 track racing 1-2 finish. And their second victory of the season, very much relaunching their title campaign. And a great way to celebrate the Belgian National Day, as you heard Stienes mentioned there as well. So, overall, a great day for the Belgian team. 1-2 overall, and double podium in AM as well. So, see the Q1 drivers celebrating each other. What is a very good day for the team.
Absolutely right indeed. Overjoyed is certainly the phrase I would use. Nicolas van Dierendonck proud of the rest of the outfit, and no doubt alike Stienes Longin and Nicolas Salins themselves after pulling off a grand display, a superb stint on both counts. As the drivers await to take the podium, I'm sure that one driver who is probably delighted, in fact both sets of drivers, Mertels, Fernando Navarrete and Alvaro Libera, with that AM victory. Of course, we'll see the AM podium later on, but first and foremost, let's witness the return of Alex Ryman to the podium once more. Will feature on the third step. Here he comes now, the Estonian representing EST1 Racing. Will make his way to the third step of the podium in hopes to pursue for that elusive race win that is surely only just around the corner.
I mean, we've been surprised yesterday that he hadn't been on the podium all season. He's got two of them now. Xander Prispalak and Lars Zeinen on the podium for the second time this weekend as well. But what a day for Q1 track racing. Stienes Longin and Nicolas Salins on the top step. It's an all Porsche podium. And on the Belgian National Day, we'll hear the Belgian national anthem. And so the Michelin representative handing the trophies to Alex Ryman.
As far as Alex Ryman's concerned, last four races, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, not necessarily in tandem, but those are the four results. First has got to be the next race, surely.
Well, we'll see. It's quite a long wait before we have GT Cup action once again.
We have the summer break.
We do have the summer break. We already had to wait. We wait 8 weeks in Spa, and we wait a little bit longer as well. But that's the snap right there for Q1 track racing. The team representative getting the trophy as well there on the right-hand side. So joining them on the top step of the podium during the national anthem. I'm sure they've got some friends in the hospitality unit on the roof that they keep looking towards. A great day for Q1 track racing. of course, will be very handy in terms of the team's championship as well, pulling slightly further away from Murtal Motorsports, who are the real threat for them in terms of the team's championship. The champagne very much earned after surviving very difficult conditions in both stints.
Well, seeing as the rain is cascading down, doesn't it to have the champagne thrown at you as well?
Yeah.
Gonna get wet anyway, so there we go. Here we have the AM podium, and there is Fernando Navarrete Rodrigo, along with Alvaro Libera alongside him. Again, offering their congratulations to Nicholas Salins. And again, one last sharing of joy between the Q1 track racing team, as now the AM podium winners now take to the podium. Fernando Navarrete Rodrigo along with Alvaro Libera. Of course, they'll be on the top step, but first and foremost, Laurent van der Velde heads up to the top step in his own right.
Yep, there, Laurent van der Velde and Nathan Brawns have had 2 wins in AM. This is their 4th time on the podium this season. And it's a double podium for Q1 track racing, as Nico van Dierendonk and Bogdan Dumar take their 5th podium. And so just help to close the gap a little bit to Dieter Sveps and Leandro Martins in the AM Championship, who were only 2 points ahead going into the weekend. But for the first time this season, it's Fernando Navarrete and Alvaro Libera from Murtal Motorsports. A breakthrough result for them. The only points that they had scored before this weekend was a podium finish at Hockenheim. And they were on the podium yesterday as well. And so it seems like the only time they score points is when they're on the podium. But it's the win for the first time for Navarrete and Libera.
And they equalled the best overall result this season as well, because it was 6 at Hockenheim where they went ahead and took that AM podium. 6 again today overall.
Great result for the Spanish pairing, who will look to build on that momentum together. Of course, Fernando Navarrete, no stranger to the podium, having scored a couple last year. But that's all from Paul Ricard, and once again we go on a short summer break, but we return in Barcelona on the 28th of September.